Imagine waking up, looking at the sky, and thinking, right, that's it. I'm suing God. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not a typo, not a mispronunciation, just a man, a grievance, and a truly ambitious legal strategy. We're talking about a chap who decided that the traditional avenues of prayer or just, grinning and bearing it, weren't quite cutting the mustard. He felt wronged, aggrieved, and frankly, a bit put upon by the celestial powers that be. And instead of writing a strongly worded letter, he went straight for the legal big guns. Now, before you scoff and wonder if he'd maybe had one too many sherries, let's dive into the peculiar details. Our protagonist, an aggrieved individual, decided that the various acts of God, floods, fires, pestilence, perhaps even a rogue pigeon messing up his clean laundry, constituted negligence. Or, perhaps, a breach of some unwritten, cosmic social contract. It's a bit like trying to hold the weather accountable for your terrible hair day, but with significantly more legal paperwork. The legal system, bless its cotton socks, isn't exactly set up for this kind of thing. Judges usually deal with tangible defendants, people who can be served papers, cross-examined, and, ideally, exist in a physical form. This case, however, presented a slight conundrum. How do you serve a subpoena to an omnipresent, omniscient being? Do you just shout it very loudly into the heavens? Attach it to a carrier pigeon and hope for the best? The procedural hurdles alone probably made a few barristers reach for the stronger painkillers. What followed was a legal saga that had more twists and turns than a pretzel factory. Our man argued his case with a conviction that rivaled a particularly stubborn donkey. He pointed to insurance policies that specifically mention acts of God, cleverly flipping the script. If insurance companies acknowledge such acts, surely there must be a responsible party, right? It's a bit like buying a flat-pack wardrobe and then suing the concept of assembly required. And here's where it gets truly wild. The court, after much deliberation and probably several cups of very strong tea, ruled in his favor. Yes, you heard that correctly. The man who sued God actually won. Not in the sense that a deity appeared in court to hand over a check, obviously, but in a procedural, legally fascinating way. It was a victory for the underdog, albeit an underdog taking on the ultimate overdog. The specifics of the win are, naturally, a bit more nuanced than a celestial bank transfer. Often, these cases gain traction due to the inability of the defendant to appear or present a defense. It effectively becomes a default judgment. So, while God might not have been physically present to argue his side, his continued absence meant our litigant effectively won by forfeit. It's like turning up for a football match and winning because the other team couldn't find their boots. This whole affair begs the question, what exactly does one do with a judgment against the Almighty? Does he send bailiffs to the pearly gates? Does he start a GoFundMe to hire heavenly debt collectors? The practicalities of enforcing such a verdict are, shall we say, a tad problematic. It's a bit like trying to pay your electricity bill with monopoly money, a nice gesture, but ultimately unhelpful. What this case truly highlights isn't just one man's audacity, but the often unforeseen flexibility and sometimes bewildering interpretations within our legal systems. It shows that sometimes, even when facing an opponent who is, by definition, all-powerful and beyond reproach, a creative legal argument can still find a crack in the cosmic pavement. It's a reminder that the law, much like life, can be incredibly absurd and wonderfully unpredictable. This story, quite frankly, has it all: the sheer chutzpah of an individual, the bewildered legal professionals, and an outcome that defies all common sense. It's a tale that proves that even in our modern, rational world, there's still plenty of room for the utterly bizarre. And for that, we can only be grateful. Or perhaps, slightly terrified. So, the life lesson here? If you've got a grievance, no matter how outlandish, apparently it's always worth seeing if you can get it on the court docket. You never know who might not show up. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more bewildering tales.